It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. It's the B block, the Bravo block. Today's date is July 28th, and which means we start this around 7:20. But we are perpetually late, and it's always John's fault. Okay, John, you ready for my top three?
Jason Derulo.
It's time for Brad's top three.
It is time for my top three. This one comes to me from Info Dude Mike Otten, who sent me a fascinating article. The article title is, the headline is, Autograph Dealer Identified as Man Found Dead in Indiana Raid of Fake Memorabilia. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office identified autograph dealer Brett Lemieux, 45, as the man found dead when police executed a search warrant into a scheme involving fake sports memorabilia in Westfield, Indiana. In a release, I won't go about it. In a Facebook post attributed to Lemieux on the Autographs 101 group sent shockwaves through the sports industry Wednesday morning. In the post allegedly written by Lemieux, he detailed a huge counterfeiting business that sold more than 4 million items and surpassed $350 million in sales. Now, the interesting thing about this is they talk about the fact that how he was able to do this, and other people were able to do this huge, apparently he got found out and he committed suicide, at least that's what they're saying. He was forging the holograms. And I thought to myself, how tough is it to forge a hologram? Because, everything, well, it's got the official hologram on it. Well, how do you know that's the official hologram? John?
Yeah, of course. I get what you're saying. So wait a minute. He was forging like authentic things. So he was essentially just like making counterfeit stuff.
Lemieux's this is according to the article. Lemieux's primary business was called Mr. Man Cave, which says on its website that it offers, quote, the largest framed jersey inventory on the web. A Facebook page for Mr. Man Cave says the business is located in Columbus, Ohio, but no records of physical store that exists. In the post attributed under his name, Lemieux said after Kobe Bryant died in January 2020, his company put out 80,000 fake items into the marketplace. Sources told Lemieux upset many companies that had official autograph deals with players because Lemieux's outlet would offer prices that were much lower and yet still feature holograms of authentication. An Aaron Judge ball, for example, would sell on Fanatics for $6.99. Lemieux's website at Mr. Man Cave would offer a Judge ball with Fanatics hologram for $3.99. A Fanatics spokesperson said the company made big changes to its hologram 2 years ago after receiving information its former holograms have been copied. The new hologram has not been replicated since, the spokesperson said. Fanatics is currently working with 2 other partners to make additional changes that will make its stickers more counterfeit proof. How do you know, John? If you go to the store and it's got a hologram sticker on it, and you move it around and the thing moves, like a hologram would, how would you know that's a real or a fake hologram?
Yeah, you don't. And that's why, I guess, every sort of, from what I understand in the memorabilia space and in the autograph space, there's just certain ways that you can certify like the authenticity of an autograph. But if you're at a store and you're looking at a ball and it's got a hologram, of course you assume that it's real.
There's a judge in St. Charles County who could actually be called in on this because he is the expert at autographs. Do you know who I'm talking about?
That sounded like the setup to a joke, but is he really?
You don't know this story, do you?
Oh no, I don't know this.
You don't know this?
Is it about Judge Mike Carter?
No. You don't know this story about the judge that got in trouble with the autographs?
No, I don't know about that.
Oh man. Maybe I'll do a whole C segment on it sometime, because what's interesting about it is I have personal experience in front of this judge. Let's put it that way.
Interesting. Okay. That's a good teaser.
Okay.
By the way, the problem with this guy, this Lemieux guy, is that, as we've mentioned, it's been a while on the show, Brad, but he named his company something Man Cave. Is that right?
Yeah.
Imagine owning a house and living with a woman and having to have a man cave. Like, imagine saying, I got to go down to the basement if I want to watch sports. I got a little fridge down there to escape the wife and kids. She doesn't want me up here watching my baseball. Imagine not being the master of your domain.
John, can I put on my female perspective for a minute?
Please do.
John, imagine having a living with a guy where you had to have a she shed in back of your house. Isn't it terrible that I have to
I think that is actually a hilarious, that's a good point, Brad. And also, one of the most hilarious phrases ever is she shed. I think that's so funny.
Isn't it terrible I had to go to my she shed to get away from you, John? How would that be, John?
Other than her voice, she sounds pleasant. I like her already.
Okay, you ready for number 2?
Number 2.
Actually, there's a 2A and a 2B. Let's do 2B first. Okay, ready?
It's time
I'm ready.
for Brad's number 2.
Okay, it is 2B,
It's time for Brad's number 2.
and I found this absolutely, positively fascinating. Remember the guy, what was his name? Mr. Hardball, what was his name? Matthews? Chris
Matthews.
Matthews.
Yeah, he had that tingle going down his leg from Barack Obama.
Right. Okay, here's the headline. Let me try that again. Ex-MSNBC host praises Trump's political instincts, ability to connect to country culturally. Now, he's on a show with Charlie Rose, another guy who fell from fame on CBS. Wasn't he wasn't Charlie Rose wasn't he kicked off CBS because of the fact he was saying he was like a Me Too kind of guy? Wasn't he saying nasty things?
I don't remember that about him, but I don't pay that much attention to those like national hosts. But go ahead, Brad.
Okay. Here's Chris Matthew. Quote, he's very good at knowing your condition, your worries, your insecurities. He's talking about Trump. I mean, he'd be a great bully in a grade school, a Catholic high school or grade school. I mean, he'd be the sarcastic bully because he'd know everybody's weaknesses. But he's really good at the moment. I mean, he's out there watching television and keeping up. And he says, is this the right thing to do? What we're doing right now? Matthew said. And he goes on, Biden couldn't do that in a million years. Not a million years. Mondale couldn't do that. They don't have the connection to the electricity of what's going on in the country culturally. And he knows what works. And you know what? He's right, because that is Trump. And he says, and he goes on to say, we have never had a president so instantly spontaneous that he knows this minute. If he had said at 4 o'clock this afternoon, he would say, that's not really true anymore. He will now know the mood of the country. I once had a talk with him about Zoolander movie, Ben Stiller movie, and he said, Zoolander 1, good timing. Zoolander 2, didn't work. He's instantaneous, Matthew said. And he's right. That is what makes Trump, because the fact that his training is not a politician's training. You and I talk about this all the time. The politicians go through this stupid training. Well, ask me a question. I'll do my politician thing. Go ahead, ask me a question, John.
Hey, how do you feel about the cleanup of Coldwater Creek?
John, that's a very interesting question. I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of people are concerned about our water quality all over the country. And, there's certain parts of the country where water quality is good, other parts where it's not so good. And that comes down to individual taste, because some people like bad water and other people don't. How did I do, John?
Yeah, that was very political speak.
Okay.
Very good, Brad. It was almost as if you were a guest speaker at a Republican candidate training in St. Charles County once.
Right. Okay. And that's why they don't ask me back anymore, because I keep telling them,
Because you told him not to buy yard signs from Thomas Smith.
I do, and he's not happy with me. Okay, here's 2A.
It's time for Brad's number
Okay.
2.
A sad story.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
This one involves the L.A. murder. I don't know if you're familiar about this, with the lady who was the musical director for, I believe, American Idol, and her husband. You know about this crazy story?
No, I don't know this.
This is such a sad story. And the part of it that's sad about this is, let me pull this up. They live in a neighborhood. I think they live in Encino, which I don't think is that bad a neighborhood, but apparently it must not be the best neighborhood. And they live in this neighborhood, and they were found dead in their home, shot to death. And they didn't find them for like 3 or 4 days after they were killed. Okay, the police report says, now get this, the house is fortified. It has 7 8-foot-high walls with metal spikes that are welded onto the tips of the walls there. The vehicle gate was closed, also spiked. They had no means of entering via gate code like they did on the day of the welfare check. Okay, the reason for this is now people are complaining to the police. They were murdered, and there was a 911 call, and you didn't respond. Well, a 911 call did come out, and the problem is, if you dial 911 from a cell phone, it doesn't necessarily give an address. Some of the 911 systems, it gives a Latin line, a latitude, longitude.
For sure.
thing.
I get what you're saying.
So the police showed up, and they tried to do a welfare check, and they couldn't get in the place because the gate was closed. And you heard the story about the the walls were 8 foot with spike tops and the whole bit. Okay. This guy apparently climbed the wall, got over the top of the spikes, got into the house, and the sad part of it is apparently the husband and wife couple had a gun And it almost sounds like the husband, or maybe the wife, got the gun and got the beat on the guy, and the guy got the gun away from them and killed them both. And the bizarre part of it is, how did they track this guy down? John, guess how they tracked him down?
He had his cell phone with him.
Yes. And they're pretty sure this is the guy. Matter of fact, I think he's also given a confession. Now, the neighborhood is upset. They're going like, we need more police protection. Okay, John, when you have, as the police said, once again, as the police report said, the house is fortified. 7 8-foot high walls with metal spikes across the top. What does that tell you, John? If you had to live in a neighborhood where you had to have 8-foot tall walls with spikes on it, wouldn't you think, maybe I need to move?
Yeah, maybe I need to leave Meacham Park. Maybe Wellston isn't the community for me.
And see, the sad part of this is the police department. I don't know if this is LA City or LA County. I think it might be LA County because Encino would be outside the city limits of Los Angeles City. Although that's not true in some areas because Las Vegas has that deal where the Las Vegas Metro Police have authority in Clark County, which is sort of weird. But anyway, I mean, how sad is this? You live in a fortified house. You still have some nutbag who climbs the fence, gets over the spikes, gets into your house, gets your gun away from you, and kills you and your husband. I mean, you know.
You can take every precaution, Brad, but sometimes stuff like that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think this is sad. Okay, you ready for number one?
I can't wait. I hope it's more
And now,
depressing than that one.
Big finish, Brad's number.
Okay, my number one is to a certain extent, if it wasn't so sad, it would be funny, okay? You ready for this?
Yeah, I am.
Climate activists are trying to get rid of the Blue Angels' appearance in Seattle.
Because is it too militaristic, or what's wrong with the Blue Angels?
Climate activists demand end to U.S. Navy's Blue Angels air show in Seattle. Okay, ready? Seattle climate activists are protesting an upcoming U.S. Navy Blue Angels show, claiming the jets pollute the environment, while a local, this one's even better, this is sort of connected or it's not, while a local woman filed a lawsuit on Monday claiming the military jets traumatized her ailing cat and made it die.
Oh, that's a shit. That's entirely believable. Is she seeking compensation?
Well, let me read the rest of the story. The Blue Angels, the elite military flight demonstration team consisting of 140 active duty sailors and Marines, aims to, quote, showcase the excitement, precision, and power of naval aviation with their performances. Now, in their 79th year, Blue Angels website says the squadron has been performing at Seattle's Seafair Festival. That's what the festival is, since 1972. The Airshow Climate Action Coalition, that's the name of this group. The Airshow Climate Action Coalition put up a billboard in Seattle this week declaring, quote, say no to Blue Angels. The coalition, made up of members from local climate groups as well as the radical group Extinction Rebellion, is planning to march and hold a rally on August 2nd in protest of the Blue Angels air show this weekend. The billboard depicts people with hands over their ears and others raising their fists in protest with the jets, which what they say cause war trauma and pollution. At the billboard's unveiling on Tuesday, protesters held signs reading "Demilitarized Seafair" and "No Military Air Shows." Okay, now they're calling for the military fighter jets to be excluded from them participating in an annual event. Now, the St. Louis connection. I always try to do my top three. Guess where those jets were made, John?
Were they made at Boeing right here in St. Louis?
In North County, every F-15 and F-18, well, there's some F-15s I think that are made by licensed other countries, but I believe every single F-18 in existence was made in NOCO, right on the north side of Lambert, St. Louis, or now it's St. Louis Lambert International Airport. They changed it around. So there's the local connection. These Seattle goofballs are saying that our wonderful jets that were manufactured right here by St. Louisans, North Countyites, West Countyites, East Side people, those wonderful jets are causing problems in Seattle.
They're war machines, Brad. You got to get rid of the war machines.
Now, let me take it there. Now, here we go. Here's another quote. The sheer amount of carbon emissions the Blue Angels create, 670 tons in one weekend, is immense and wasteful on top of being a big display of U.S. militarism, McCall said, Seattle Times. Now, let me go down to the other part of the story. Lauren Ann Lombardi filed a lawsuit against Blue Angels officers in federal court on Monday claiming, quote, her beloved family member was terrorized by Blue Angels stated sanction and she called it state sanctioned acoustic torture.
You know, that's like if people are forced to listen to the Brad and John
I
show.
was just going to say, if Mike Kehoe said, that Brad and John show is a great show, would that be state-sanctioned acoustic torture? Listening to our show. The lawsuit claims the noise of the low-flying FA-18 fighter jet spurred panic attacks in the cat, who was in critical condition due to her worsening congestive heart disease and ultimately led to her euthanasia in August of 2024. Now, get
that's
this.
entirely believable.
She's also accused the Blue Angels of blocking of essentially of First Amendment violations. Why is that, John?
I don't have any idea.
Because you're ready for this. She went on the Blue Angels Instagram page and put profanity-laced comments on their U.S. Navy Squadron Instagram page, and the Navy removed her profanity-laced comments on the official U.S. Navy Blue Angels Facebook or Instagram page. She's seeking a court order to unblock her account and prohibit the Blue Angels from blocking any other accounts on, quote, the basis of viewpoints.
That's good. She has a right to curse on a public website, Brad.
There are some things that when you read them, state-sanctioned acoustic torture. Mike Kehoe, please, you know how the stars do that. Hi, I'm Brad Paisley, and you're listening to WIL 92.3.
Yeah, they do a little drop. Isn't that what you guys call them in the industry?
We need to get a Mike Kehoe drop. I would pay for this. Hi, this is Governor Mike Kehoe, and I encourage you not to listen to the Brad and Hildebrand
state-sanctioned torture.
Right, the Brad
acoustic
and John
torture.
Acoustic Torture Show on 104.5 Westplex Talk. Wouldn't that be a riot?
Brad, I just think that next time you're together with your AM radio buddies talking about how we should force car makers to include AM, you should rename yourself Extension Rebellion 2.0.
I like. How about I could be a rap guy and I'd be DJ Acoustic Torture. How about that one? Hi, I'm a DJ Acoustic Torture. Yeah, and everything I do is gonna torture your eardrums. You ready?
What I would love is for you to pull a Seattle news story about it that used the phrase acoustic torture, and that could be a new intro to our show, Brad.
Okay, John, next segment, I will tell you my story of woe over the past week, and I will once again point out the fact that, by the way, do you know who Aiden Ross is? Does this name ring a bell?
The name sounds familiar. Yeah, who is he?
John, do me a favor. I'm not going to tell you. Do your little internet thing there. There's this thing I think called Wikipedia. Go on Wikipedia, and when we get back into Charlie Block rather, I will tell you the Aiden Ross story, and then I will tell you the Randy Raley story. Okay?
Okay, I can't wait to hear. I'm looking up Aiden Ross right now.